welcome to Cass Kim's little discussion show. Been having kind of a grumpy day today, so I said, nope, not gonna do that. Gonna just keep producing, keep making content, not gonna give up, right? So today is actually a lot along those lines because I'm gonna talk about working as a freelance writer. So, 5 tips for working as a freelance writer. The first one is going to be look at the different sites. So, there's a lot of different sites that you can look at to put your profile out there to look for jobs. Uh, some of the top ones are like Fiverr, Upworks. There's a couple other ones that are a little bit more exclusive that you have to apply for and be accepted for, or that you maybe have to pay to get reviewed. I haven't tried anything where I have to pay up front to get reviewed, just because to me it seems like a gamble, right? Um, so I use Upworks personally, primarily, and then I also get clients through my own personal website. That's number one. When you're doing that too, sorry, I wrote a couple things down to remember. So when you're doing that, keep in mind that different sites have different terms, right? So the benefit of using a site versus your own website is there's a lot more jobs available to bid for. Most of them have like a payment guarantee, or like they'll help you if somebody doesn't pay for your work after you've done it for them. But then also the sites take different percentages for that kind of like payment insurance thing, right? So I know Upworks, I want to say they take like 20%, and I think it gets lower if the job is over $500, but I'm not sure about exactly where that limit is. I haven't spent that much time looking at it since I don't have much choice, right? If I'm going to use it, they're going to take the percentage. But to me, I think it's worth it. If you're going to be doing business through your own website, I would recommend some kind of payment upfront system, whether it's half upfront or all of it upfront. Just make sure that you've got a plan in place, because you don't want to be stuck asking somebody to pay you for something that you've already sunk your time into. All it's going to do is take more of your time, and you don't know if you're going to get paid for it anyhow, right? So something to be aware of when you look at freelance writing. Okay, number 2. My second tip is when you're starting out, and even when you're not starting out necessarily, bid a lot. Even if it's a job that you're not 100% you want, or if it's a job you don't think you're qualified for but you want, bid if it's something you can write. Bid up and down, just bid for everything, because A, it's going to help you have practice bidding. B, you might be surprised at the jobs that you're going to get offered, and you don't have to take every job that you're offered. So maybe you bid for something, you get into the details of negotiation, and you're like, it's not worth my money, or the money is not worth my time, or maybe it's just something you really don't feel that you're qualified for. You can always turn the job down. So it's worth it to bid, because you don't want to be in a position where you're only bidding for like 1 or 2 jobs and you're not getting any of them. So bid a lot is my first recommendation. And then my second recommendation is, or my third tip, but my second thing about bidding. So third tip is personalize your bids. So you'll see this in a lot of different forums, but when you're bidding for a job, just don't have a cut and paste thing. Kind of like on Twitter when like people call for books and you see people like reposting the exact same thing every time. It's not as personal and it's not individualized at all. And I think that clients can tell if you really read or not. You'll even see some clients say like, oh, in the first line, put these words so I know that you read the whole job description, which tells me that people are doing a lot of copying and pasting for bids. And so if you're personal and you can say like, oh, this really appeals to me for this reason. Some of the ghostwritten work that I've gotten, I think that I got because I specifically said like, oh, I really like this because, or this resonates with me because I know that I could write this well because of this, and being very specific about what the job entails and what their description was. If it's a genre that you've written a lot in, then you should really bring that up, right? Like point that out. So number 4 is continue to grow your own business as well. So whether you're a self-published author on the side, like a lot of us freelancers are, make sure that you still make some time for your own projects as well. Like I haven't really done a lot for my own projects in quite some time, pretty much since releasing Consequences in January, aside from the Autumn Nights anthologies, because I've been just super, super busy freelancing. And don't get me wrong, I'm really grateful to have the opportunities that I've had. It just means that my stuff gets pushed to the side. And so that's something to be aware of, is whatever your personal platform is, whatever your personal goal is, you need to make sure that you're still making time for that as well. I'm also, trying to do all these other content creation things to build up my own name and my own brand, so that I can ideally get more clients through my personal website, because then I don't have to worry about so much of the payment getting taken out, like the 20% for Upworks, right? But you're not allowed to like steal your clients from the site that you work in. So like if you work in Upworks to gain a client, you can't really like take it off of Upworks without it. It just, there's a lot of legal stuff to it. So if you can catch people on your own site, if you're comfortable doing that and you have a system in place for payment, you'll make a more overall for the amount. Like they're not going to take a percentage out, but you can't just like catch clients and steal them. It's like, it's not legal. And if you get caught doing it, there's a pretty big penalty for most sites. So just be aware of that. So, but make sure whatever you're doing, whether you want to make a name for yourself as an editor or a name for yourself as a ghostwriter on your own with clients hopefully coming to you. I do book coaching, editing, ghostwriting. I do all of that through my own site as well. And then if you're also still writing, you need to make sure that you just have time and continue to put effort into that as well. It can be hard to balance. I'm not going to lie to you. And then number 5 is to be realistic about time and money. So like I said, it's a lot to balance, right? So there are definitely times when you get offered a really good contract and you just don't have the time for it. Sometimes I'll say, look, I really, really am interested in this contract. If you can wait 2 weeks, I can get started on it then. Some people will, some people won't. It just depends on the client and their own timeline. Another thing is there's a lot of people out there who are looking to get things written very, very cheap. Sorry, the cat's trying to come in my video again. But there's a lot of people out there who are looking to pay like, I don't know, less than a half a cent a word, but they want you to do all the research and come up with the topic. And you just have to be realistic about how much time you're going to be spending on something and what the return on that time is going to be. Because if you take a job that's very time consuming and it doesn't pay very much, and then you get offered a job that's less work for more money, if you don't have time for that other job, you've lost out, right? So some tips I have for that would be like, for me anyways, if it's something fictional, like creating an outline for somebody or coming up with some story ideas or helping flesh out characters, that doesn't take a whole lot of time for me. So I don't charge as much for fictional things as I do for nonfiction things. If I'm writing somebody's memoir or somebody's business book or something like that, they have to feed me that information, right? Like I'm not going to overnight wake up and be like a specialist on this medical thing. Well, I might be okay for a lot of medical things, but like I would never be a specialist on most of them though. And anything that's, otherwise a nonfiction item, you need to have the information given to you, especially like memoirs or somebody's personal book that they want to do under their name, right? So you have to spend a lot of time listening to recordings or watching videos. You have to think about what that person's voice is, not what your own writing voice is. And then you have to make sure that it all flows. You have to give them a chance to give you feedback and revisions. It's a lot more time consuming actually to do a lot of the nonfiction, unless it's something short like a blog post, right? But blog posts, you have to crank out a lot of them to make much money. So there's a lot of things to think about. Some things you can do to make yourself more marketable is you can brush up on SEO and different things like that, so that if you do want to just pop out a bunch of blogs, throughout the week, and you can make that work for your quota, then you want to have those kind of things in your back pocket. You need to know the keywords that work. You need to have resources for things like that. You need to know how to backlink and do things like that. And then as you get more and more experienced, you'll have a little bit more room to negotiate for higher prices, right? So once you've earned a certain amount of money, you can say like, look, this is my going rate. I'd be willing to do this, but would you consider, a bonus for timeliness or different things like that? So there's a lot of different ways to up the ante, and a lot of people do actually provide bonuses for timely work or really high quality work, because just like there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get people to write things for low prices, there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get paid to write things who maybe don't have the skills that they're selling themselves as having, which means that the person hiring them might have to have a bunch of different revisions or go back and forth, and that's time consuming for the client as well as the writer. So if that's avoidable, a lot of times people will send you a bonus for that. It could be $15-$20, but if you get that a couple times a week, that's your phone bill, right? So those are my 5 tips for getting started as a freelance writer. You want to pick your site that you want to work through, look at different things like how much they take out of your overall overhead, what kind of benefits they're going to give you as far as, making sure payments are made. You want to bid on a lot of different things. You're not going to get everything you bid for. You'll be lucky if you get 25 to 50% of what you bid for, especially when you're starting out. It might be even lower than that. You want to make sure you personalize your bids, make sure you read the full directions for how they want you to apply, and then make sure you're thoughtful in your responses. Don't just copy and paste. Number 4, I'm going to switch like this. Number 4, make sure that you continue to grow your own projects. If you're out there trying to make a name for yourself, or you want to be, self-published, or even like a traditionally published author in your own right, you need to make sure that you're still spending time working on your projects as well. And then number 5 is be realistic about the amount of time it's going to take you to do a project, not just for setting deadlines, but also when you think about what your price is going to be. Like, what are you going to bid? Are you going to try to underbid everybody and then just end up working your butt off all day long to try to barely scrape by? Or are you going to bid realistically and miss out on some jobs that just aren't willing to pay what your time is worth? So just be aware of that. Think about those things. And if you're looking to start freelance writing, I'm open to, talking to people if they have questions. So you can DM me on Twitter. It's at CassKim_writes. You can talk to me on Instagram. It's Cass_Kim_book_coach. Yes, I know that's really long. I'm sorry. Or you can always take a look at my website and see what kind of content I offer. I did put some free printables up for authors and writers today, and I'm going to continue to add free downloadable printable objects or worksheets or different things like that for people. So feel free to check my website out. It's CassKim@CassKim.com. Okay, guys, that's it for today. It might be it for this week. I might try to squeeze one more video in. They say the more you're putting out there, the more you're going to get back. I hope that's right. Okay, you guys have a great day. Oh, also, if you're not having a great day and you're having kind of a bummer day, which I was this morning, I would recommend spending some time on YouTube watching videos of Jonathan Groff and Josh Gad interviewing together, like after the Frozen 2 media circus, because they're hilarious. They're super cute together. Okay, that's all. That's a little feel good YouTube video tip from me to you. Okay, bye guys.